Hi everybody, it's Eileen from There's Crafty Idea, and I'm here with a little craft along tutorial type of thing, and I have been playing again. I'm always playing, and I was thinking about, I was watching a lovely tutorial with Gail. I revisited a couple of her tutorials, and one of the ones I revisited was when she made the altered book, and I like the way she did some of the pages. So what I've done is I've decided to make them to fit into a signature. So, you know, and I've also covered them with napkin, because I've been thinking of ways where you can decorate a journal without having to have a digital. Because, you know, not everybody likes using digitals, and not everybody can get them. And if you're a newbie junk journaler, you might not have the resources, you know, that some of us have got. Some of us who have impulse control when it comes to Etsy and end up with loads of these lovely digital packs. But anyway, this is a great way to get yourself started, and it's also a great way for someone who's got all the digital packs in the world, because it doesn't matter how much decoration you put in a junk journal, there's never enough. So I'll show you quickly how these would fit into a signature. Let's just use this one. So this would just fit into your signature like that, and then it becomes one of the pages, and it's already got its inbuilt pocket. And then on the other side, again, it's already got its inbuilt pocket, and they are so highly decorated because of these lovely tissues and napkins that you know, that will look good in any journal. It will really look good in any journal. And so I'll show you basically how I do it. So we'll start off with our book. It's got little bits of fluff on it. This is just a book, Castle School on Holiday. It's probably, I don't know, oh look at that handwriting, that's so neat. It's probably about 50 years old. First published 1948. So yeah, about 50-60 years old, this one. You can pick these up in any bookstore, like second-hand shop or bookstore, or as we call them, you know, the knocky shops. I don't know why they've got the name the knocky shops. I really don't. If anybody knows why second-hand stores are called knocky shops in England, let me know, because I haven't got a clue where that comes from. So you would literally find one of your signatures, find the middle of it, and then you just quickly cut these strings. Try not to damage the paper too much, although, you know, a little bit of damage on the spine on the inside, it's not going to make that much difference because it will be sewn in. And then you can literally pull these pages out, and you end up with this. So you'll end up with 2 pages, and it's as simple as that to get them out of the book. You can choose, I mean, if you want a page that's going to be big enough to fit into what would be, you know, a standard size journal, you know, you would pick your book accordingly. All books are different sizes, so you just look around until you find a book that's the right size for you. I don't mind them being a little bit smaller, because I do like to have a variation in the size of my pages. And then literally you're gonna need 2 pages, and I generally take the 2 out together because, you know, you haven't got worries about fit. And then you decide on what kind of pocket you want. You could do, I mean, you could do 2 different types, because they're going to be in the signature, so you're not really going to see. You do want a book that's not fragile, I will tell you that, because you don't want to crack any pages. Mind, once you've got the Mod Podge on, that will solve that, because it turns it almost leathery. So you've got, if you wanted to do 2, you could just fold that one, or you can do 2 different types, and maybe you want that kind of pocket on the other side. And then when that's sitting in your signature, it's going to have your signature in the middle, and then you're going to have that pocket, then a few more pages, then that pocket. So you can put any pockets in that you want. So what I'll do is, I will take a book apart, especially if I'm taking it apart anyway, and then I will just pick out these pages, and I'll start to put them together, and I'll clip them together. So you can see this one I've done. Oh, there's 2 there. I've done the long pages, the long pockets on these ones, and then let's see what else, what variations have we got. This one I was playing with, I wanted to do one so that it's got a pocket there and a pocket there. So I've literally just folded the page over and then back on itself. And when you sew around that, because you will sew around these, or you'll glue them down if you don't want to sew around them. Once they're glued down or sewn around, then you've got like double pockets there. And then let's see what other ones. Again, I've done just the nice long diagonal pockets. These are all pockets you'll find in an altered book. Again, diagonal pockets. So, and this one is just, should be folded in on itself. Like that. That's going to be top loading pockets that way. So, you know, you've got lots of different options on how you want to fold them and how you want to use them. And it's a good idea to have a few different types. I'm just going to select that one. And then we'll just use this one as our base for today. So I am doing a couple of bee journals coming up. So I've got these lovely bee napkins, and for this project, you probably, depend on the size of your napkins, you're probably going to want to have a 2 of each napkin, because it's gonna, you know, it's gonna take 2. And if you don't want to patch it, then you don't want to, like, you know, you're gonna end up patching it if you use only one. So you can see there, that's going to be big enough to cover one side, but then you're going to probably have to patch it at the other side, because you can see that's not going to cover a full page. You can do that. I mean, if you were doing like the half pockets, it doesn't really matter, because, you know, but it depends on the pockets, and you'll see what I mean as we go on. So let's get started. It helps as well when you're choosing the book that you're going to use. Make sure there's nothing, shall we say, nefarious in the words, because you can see, you can still read through the napkin. So you don't want something that people are going to pick up your book and think, oh, this is that, what on earth is that? That's a swear. You know, you don't want that to happen. So choose your books carefully, and yeah, you'll be all right. So let's get started. I am using my Mod Podge, and this is Antique Matte. It's a nice creamy colour, which goes well with the colour of the page. So it's not going to, you know, we're not going to have any discoloration or anything. And you're going to laugh when I show you my glue mat. This glue mat is the one that the kids used to use when they had the Play-Doh. So yeah, I've still got that. You know what I'm like. You know what I'm like. I do not like to throw things out that can be useful. Why? When you've got to go then and buy them again. Now, to make this easy, you know, with your pockets, especially on this style, I'm just going to pull them out, because I don't want to end up cutting the napkin off. You're going to have raggedy edges. So we'll just pull them out, and let's get our Mod Podge and a little brush. And you can do this with PVA glue as well. If that's what you want to use, then use the PVA. I like the overall finish that you get with Mod Podge. It gives a lovely texture, and it is very similar to PVA. Or you can, you know, you can find recipes online to make up your own Mod Podge, if that's what you want to do. I know it can be quite expensive sometimes, and depending on what part of the world you're in, you know, it can be accessible or not, depending, because I know there's a lot of glues that a lot of you American crafters use that I can't get hold of in the UK without having to spend a fortune on postage. So, you know, you can use whatever glue you've got to hand. If you're using Mod Podge, I would probably, you know, wash it down a little bit, just because you don't want it too thick. And I think that if you're using PVA, it does tend to sometimes be a bit thick, unless you've got a runny one, because you know, it's always a good idea to have it runnier, rather than to have the finished product being so stiff that it's just going to be, it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be nice. So we've got our Mod Podge on there, and now I'm just going to lay this over the top. I know I've watched other crafters use glue sticks with napkins, And that's all fine if that's what you want to do. Use your glue stick. I just personally, my glue sticks are just not strong enough, and I'm trying to put this on without having too many wrinkles, but I'm not so bothered about the wrinkles because it all adds to the aesthetic. Now let's give this a really good push down, because I want to make sure it adheres. And if you're using the edge of your napkin like I am, just lightly rub your finger across where them little dints are, and they tend to disappear because the glue grabs them and then they disappear. There we go. And now we will just quickly chop off. I've got some bigger scissors than that. We're just going to chop off the excess. And I'm not going to trim this up until it's fully dry. And I'll tell you why, because it's easier to cut and to trim when it's dry. So the next stage, now that you've got that, is to just go over it again with your Mod Podge, if you're using Mod Podge, or with your PVA, your watered down PVA if you're using PVA. If you're using a glue stick, then you know this stage, you know, you would just miss. You don't need to do it. I just don't, I mean, I think I've tried lots of different glue sticks. I just don't find one that, I can't find one I should say, that actually does a good enough job with tissue. It doesn't matter about that because that bit's not going to be seen, so I'm not bothered. It's torn off, that's going to be folded back on itself, that's fine. Be a bit more careful on the parts that's going to show, but don't worry about it. If you rip a little bit of it, put a decoration on it. That's what I do. Or, you know, pop a little bit more of your napkin on. I mean, you could have a nice patchwork effect with these napkins. If you've got, I mean, there's a thought. Now, there's a crafty idea. When you finish this, you're going to have lots of little bits of napkins. I might do like a little patchwork one and see what that looks like. A patchwork of napkins. It might look hideous, it might look absolutely gorgeous. Now I've done the top coat on that. I'm just going to pop that aside now, and it doesn't take long to dry. It really doesn't. Now with the back piece, you need to cover where you're going to see it and the whole back. So we'll start with the back. We're going to cover the whole back. And again, this is exactly the same as what we've just done. I love the smell of Mod Podge. And this one, this antique matte one, oh, it smells amazing. It really does. I know, you know, it's probably not something that, you know, I should really admit to, but I used to love when we would do art at school, because I would just sit and smell the different glues. Not in a way of getting high, because I know that some people do that, but the smell of PVA to me, it just reminds me of childhood. And when you get it all over your hands, which I used to paint my hands on purpose, you get to sit and peel it all off, and isn't that a wonderful memory of childhood? There was a little boy in my class, what was he? I think he was called Mark, and he used to like eating the PVA. He used to sit and suck on the brush, and the teacher every time used to like, Mark, put that brush down. It's just as well it's non-toxic, isn't it? Does anybody else remember liking playing with PVA when you were a child? You like peeling it off your fingers and the smell of it. Hi, sweetness. Hi. Oh, have you done them, champion? Yes. Just pop them there for us, thank you.
Okay. This is cute.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just making some pages.
Can I have one of these ones?
This is the problem when you get your kids into junk journaling. Every time you make something, they want it. Yeah, I'll make you one, babe.
Okay, thanks.
Oh no, I'm going to have to peel that off because I didn't get the whole thing covered. Gently, gently, gently. There we go. Depending on your napkins, they can be rather forgiving, and sometimes they're just not. So be careful. Don't make that mistake that I've just made. Make sure you've got the whole surface covered. She's my official photographer, you see. I'm not allowed to take my own photos because apparently I can't take photos very well. So she's been photographing some of the pieces I've been working on to put onto Instagram, because I'm trying to get better with the Instagram. I know a lot of you like to see the bits and pieces on Instagram. I'm getting there. Okay. I'm trying my hardest, guys. I'm not a social network wizard. Luckily I've got 2 daughters who are. And they are getting much better. Oh, excuse my stomach. Can you hear that? That's terrible. So yeah, they are they're social networking wizards. I don't think it's a generational thing. I think it's just I'm not interested in, I don't know, social network. It's never been my thing. A lot of people really love it. I know my cousin, she's we're both the same age, and she is an absolute whiz with it. I mean, her photography is brilliant, and it's all self-taught, and she just puts these posts on, and she's very clever at putting things on that make you think. Just little bits and pieces, you know, just I can't even come up with them. I can't even remember them to tell you them, but she does. She comes up with some lovely things to pop on that kind of give you a pause for thought. I've told her she should do it officially because, you know, she's good at it, but yeah. I think there's a lot of people out there doing it at the minute, aren't they? What do they call them? Life coaches. She's an unofficial life coach. There we go. And just a little bit more. Where are you? There you are. In this corner. So yeah, I've got tons and tons of napkins, and my lovely sister came over the other day, and in the course of raiding my napkins, because she's learning junk journaling as well now, in the course of raiding my napkins, she's like, Eileen, you've got far too many here that you'll ever use yourself. You should make up some bundles and put them onto Etsy. So drop me a comment and tell me, would you like me to make up some napkin bundles to put onto Etsy? Is it something that you'd be interested in? Because, you know, I'd love to do that. I'd love to share the wealth, and it wouldn't take me long to get them on. So let me know, do you fancy any kind of napkins bundles? And I'm going to do, I've got so much fabric now, this is just too wet to start with. I've got so much fabric now that I've done some fabric bundles as well. So you know, I've got them coming on soon. Right, so I'm going to do another one while that one's drying, because I've got another bee napkin. Isn't that cute? Isn't that beautiful? So let's choose one. I think we'll do this one because I do like these kind of corner pocket things, and I think they're cute. Right, so let's just take this part. I'll do the back first because I want to show you about the insides. So you're not going to cover that whole thing because it's going to be covered anyway with the pocket. So what I would suggest as a visual reminder is to just pop a line underneath where you need it. Okay, and then it doesn't have to be perfect, because then, you know, you don't really need to do anything with this piece because you're not going to see that. It's going to be, you know, hidden. So we're just going to put the napkin there. So first of all, let's do the back. Shall we do the back or shall I show you the front? No, we're going to start with the pocket. I will get there eventually. And I'm not going to do all of this either because I don't need to, and I'll probably end up cutting her off to save the bulk anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to bother covering that. Now I did with the other one because there's not much, and you know it doesn't matter, you know, if it's folded over. So I wasn't bothered about that one, but this particular pocket, because it's going to have a lot of bulk, and I don't want to waste all of me my napkins. I'm not going to cover up the bits that's not going to show, so I'm not going to cover all that up. And you know, it saves you on your glue and it saves you on your napkins, which is always good, because you know there's so many things you can do with napkins. Just make sure you go well across where the fold is so that you've got some of it covered, and then you know you're not even going to tell that you haven't done the whole thing. Right, I think I'm dropping Mod Podge everywhere. What's that saying? More haste, less waste. More haste, less... I can't remember it now. If you know what that saying is, drop a comment down below and let me know. Because it'll bug me now for the rest of the day. Now, we're just going to pop the napkin over like we've been doing. But it's only going to adhere to where we put the glue, so that's where we're going to cut it. So... oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh, such a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. And look at the little bees, aren't they gorgeous? Just get rid of those little bumpy bits. There we go. Now I've just put a little tiny hole in there. I'm not bothered. You can barely see it. And, you know, it's right in the centre, so it's not even going to be obvious. So don't be too worried if, you know, if you get a little hole. You can patch it, you can cover it, you can ignore it. It's up to you. Now let's cut this off where the glue hasn't taken. And you see how much more we're going to save of our napkin? And then we can use that to patch up the other side. Because after all, it's going to be about the right shape. And don't worry about those little bits that are lying loose. Once this is dry, we can take those off, okay? So don't worry about that. So I'm going to just, so that I can see where they are, fluff them up a bit, so that when I put the top coat on, I'm not going to try and go over the top of those, because we don't need to. Oh, I've completely dunked. There we go. Okay, I love those bees, aren't they so cute? I might have to like fussy cut some of them out and pop them onto the actual pages, because I think that will be so cute. Yeah, I've decided the 2 bee journals I'm going to do, because I'm going to do 2. Mind, I've got a lot to finish before then, but I'm going to do 2 bee journals, and I'm going to do one with a digital pack and then one without. So we're going to do a side along with them so that you can see the same process, one with digital pack, one without, and I'll give you some ideas of what I do when I'm not using a digital pack, and you know, and what I do when I am, how you can enhance a digital pack, how you can use it and create, you know, an individual style out of one pack. And that's coming up, but it won't be for the next couple of weeks because I have tons of things to finish, and it's also coming up to Easter, and I've got a lovely Easter one that I want to do as well. So yes, as usual, I have got so much going on. I love it, I love it. There we go. Right, so we're going to pop that aside and let that dry too. And then we've got our lines on here to show us where we need to put our napkin, and because we've just cut that from the other side, See, that's just going to match up with that, and that's going to, you know, we're then not going to waste too much napkin. Okay, so we're going to pop that there, and then you're not wasting any napkin then with odd shapes. So let's just get this covered, and again I'm going to go over the line a little bit, even though I know that line is well below where we need it to be. It's always better to be safe than sorry, because when it comes to this kind of craft, you know, it's a one-time show. You get it right and it works, you get it wrong and you've got to start again from scratch. So we want to make sure that we've got that all nicely done. And I mean, this is a great way of using your napkins up. There are so many different ways of using napkins. I was watching Gail Agostinelli, and she was using them to decorate like plain pages and that in one of her journals, and it looked gorgeous. So you can tear little bits off and just do that. And there's lots of different ways of using your napkins. Maybe we'll do a few different like ways of using them. We'll do a series. Shall we do a series? Okay, we'll do a series. I'm saying okay like you've just answered me. Drop me a comment if you want me to do a little series on how to use your napkins. Because I love using napkins and I love finding different ways of using them, and just, you know, generally figuring out different things. Now you see these bits I'm cutting off here, they're not going to be much use for anything really, because they're just really thin strips in the way of large coverage. But what these will be great for is to stick on the edge of a page and to fussy cut out certain bits and use them on a piece of ephemera, and, you know, pop that at the bottom, tear it and pop it at the bottom of a page, and you've got a beautiful border. So even your little bits, keep them, and we'll put that, you know, if you want this series, and do drop me a comment to let me know, we'll pop that on as, you know, as one of the videos, what to do with the scraps. because I've got so many ideas. Right, okay. Wow, I really hope everybody just drop a comment on this, because I've asked for loads of comments for loads of different things. Tell me about your childhood stories of PVA in the art classroom. Tell me if you want a napkin series. Tell me if you like these. Tell me anything. I love getting your comments. You've no idea. I sit with such a grin on my face when I get that little notification that someone's commented, because if you haven't noticed, and I'll tell you this is a secret, I'm a chatterbox. So I do love chatting, and I love getting comments. So yeah, drop us a comment. Just say hi. If you don't want to say anything else, just say hi, because I love hearing from people. Yeah, I'm just a little tiny bit of a chatterbox. You know, every single report card, Eileen is constantly talking in class. Yeah, so that's that bit covered, and you can see I've left this up so I didn't waste any Mod Podge on it. We'll trim that off as we go, okay, and we'll leave this to dry as well, and then once this is dry we're going to turn it over and do the whole back. Right, let's have a look and see where these ones are getting to. They're a little bit dry. What I'm going to do, I am going to stop the video here, let these dry, and then start filming again, because I want to show you the whole process. So yeah, I'll be back. In your time I won't have gone anywhere, but in my time this will have time to dry. So 1 second and I'll be back. And I'm back. Everything is now lovely and dry, and I have done the back side of the other paper, so just to cut down on how much gluing you're going to watch me do. So everything is now covered So we've got, this is the outer side and this is the inner side. So we've got both sides of that covered up to where the pockets are going to go, and then we've got the pocket covered. And what I've done is I've trimmed it down a bit because it was a bit bulky. And then when you put it all together, there you go. So it's going to look like the whole thing's covered. So I'm just quickly going to trim these down. And again, like I said, it doesn't matter if you've got a few little bits that haven't been covered. You can pop over them with a little bit more napkin, or you can put a little decoration there, or, you know, ink it and make it look like it's meant to be. Because, you know, old books, they are meant to look like old books. So old books sometimes have mistakes, sometimes have accidents and tears, and that's okay, that's fine. Right, now, so I'm going to fold, this is where our inner page, so I'm just going to refold where that needs to be. There we go. And what we'll do is we'll just get some glue, and I'm just going to glue this down. And this is going to support our pocket as well. It's going to mean that it's nice and sturdy, so that when we're putting stuff in and out, it's going to be pretty solid. And it's not too much bulk, because we're not folding the whole thing in. We're just doing the edge. Make sure it's got plenty. There we go. So that's the actual pocket, and now I want to make sure this is folded down the centre properly. And you just follow the guide of the book where you've took it out, and you'll see once everything's refolded it's fine. And let's just trim around this bit. And I mean, you know, it just takes a few minutes just to get your edges right. You can be a bit more precise than I'm being here. This is just me showing you how I do it. I can go back over this and trim off any little bits that I might miss. Just take your time with it and make sure you get all your bits off. Another way of getting these bits off, if you've got the time and the patience, I never have the patience, is to use a nail file. And all you would do then is, say this was your nail file, you would just file along the edge of the page, and it gives you a different effect because it takes off the extra napkin, and it gives you a different effect on the edge of the page. It takes a while. I've never got the patience to do it, so yeah, I'm just going to use scissors. But it can give you a nice effect. Just move all these little bits out of the way. Right, so now this is our outer page, and I'm just going to check on the numbers which way I've got this. That's right, so there we go. I mean, it doesn't much matter, not really. And then the last final act is to put it together. And what I would do is, if you're going to sew around it, I will line everything up, and then I'll put a couple of paper clips on it, and it just keeps everything in the right place. And I mean, it's up to you whether you want to sew down there first and then around the whole thing, or whether you just want to sew around the whole thing. I think on the ones I've got, let me just check because I can't remember, did I sew around the pockets as well? I did. So I've sewn down there first, and then I've sewn around the whole thing, and that way, you know, it's covered all the way around. You've got your stitching and everything's nice and secure, and you can see it goes all the way through. But once you've got that into a signature, it's going to turn into two different pockets because it'll be secured down the centre. So I'm not going to sew around these on camera because, you know, you don't need to see us doing that. If you were going to glue these down, now this is like, you can do these without sewing, they're absolutely fine. You would just run your bead of glue wherever you need it, and along the top and along the bottom on this, and that would give us the two pockets. And again, I would just use a paper clip just to hold everything still while the glue's setting. But that's basically that one. And I mean, if you're an inker like me, then ink it up before you sew everything together, obviously, because otherwise it gets difficult. but you can see how that makes the pocket stand out a bit. So just by putting a little bit of ink on, and you don't have to do this, you can still see where the pocket is, but just by putting that little bit of ink on, you can the pocket really lifts and stands out from the page, and you can see it. So let's put the other one together. I'm just going to pop that lid on, and like I said, I've already trimmed this one, so let's just put a bit of glue on here. I cut off the access just because I don't want these to be too thick. They are going to be thicker than a normal page. One, you've got two thicknesses of book page, and you've got the thickness that the Mod Podge and the napkin give you, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it can, you know, it can add to the thickness. So it's a good idea just to cut off any excess that you're not going to need. Now again, I'm just going to ink mine, but that's because I like to ink things. I've got a thing about inking. Not everybody does, but it's just my personal aesthetic. And I would ink the whole thing. I'm not going to go around it all now, because I would generally do the outside after I've finished sewing, so that I'm getting all the extra little surfaces. But that's the pocket done anyway. And then we'll cut off the excess napkin. Just fold it a little bit. And again, like I said, you can take more time to do yours. You can be a bit more precise, a bit neater. I'm just, for the purposes of this video, I'm just doing it more quickly than I normally would. I would normally take a lot more time to get it very precise. But you get the idea. Try not to cut into the page like I just did. Though it doesn't matter, because once the both pages are together, it sort of evens itself out anyway. Right, then it's just a case of putting this together, lining everything up. We haven't folded this one properly, so let's just get that folded. There we are, and make sure this one's folded. There we go. And then it's just a case of putting it together. And again, get your paper clips and pop them on, just to keep everything in the right place. I've lost the rest of my paper clips, but you get the idea. And then there you go, you've got the 2 pages with the pockets going that way, and then you've got the 2 pages with the pockets going that way. And when you pop them, when you've sewn around them or glued them, when you pop them into your book, they're just going to look so cute. They're going to be really nice, and I mean, that's going to be gorgeous. You're going to be flicking through your book, and then there's a beautiful page, a beautiful decorated page, and then you've got a nice pocket there, and again it's beautifully decorated, and you flip through to the other side, and there's the rest of that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love them. So get some Mod Podge or PVA, give them a go. I'll sew around these, and then I'll pop them onto the Instagram so you can see them completely finished. And yeah, give them a go. Just get your napkins out and play with them, and all of the pockets that you would use on a glue book, you know, just try them, because they become a beautiful part of your signature in your junk journal. And yeah, I have fun with this. It's always fun to play with Mod Podge and to get mucky, but there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you give them a go. Just get your old books out, you know, what you're using for glue books, or if you're taking a book apart because you want something out of it, or you want the cover, just keep some of the pages. And especially if you're making a book from a book cover and you want some pages that are going to fit perfectly, use the book pages out of that book, because these will fit perfectly in the book that they came from. And there you go, you've got a perfect signature size there. You could use these for the outside of the signatures because they've got enough texture on them that they're going to be sturdy enough to hold your signature, or you could use them within the signature, whichever way you want. And they're a great idea. I love them. They're a nice way of decorating a book without, if you're not going to use digitals, or if you want something different, you know, something, you know, not the standard. And I mean, there are so many different types of napkins, and tissue paper, you could do this with tissue paper. Have a look in your local supermarket. They've all got these beautiful paper napkins, and they're just, to my mind, they're wasted. Wasted on wiping people's faces. Use them decoratively. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you give it a go. I really do enjoy making them. I've got a whole pile of them now, so I've got to get the sewing machine out and sew them all up. Yeah, give it a go. Drop me a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you're going to give it a go. Tell me how it turns out for you. And if you've got an alternative to Mod Podge, pop it down below in a comment and let us know, because it can be expensive, this stuff. I mean, not always, but it depends on what part of the world you're in, and you know, if you've got any craft stores. I mean, at the minute the craft stores are all closed, and it can be expensive getting it online. It really can. So give it a go. Drop me a comment, drop a like on this if you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Happy crafting. Bye.